Alright, we are testing 1, 2. Just to make sure everything's sounding okay before we start. Try not to be on here too long. It is late, and I usually try to be in bed at 12 o'clock, and I know how I ramble and stuff, so we're just going to try to do a quick live stream and show you a cool discovery I just made here. And looks like I am hearable. So, hey guys, good to see you. If anybody here decides to make it, thank you so much. For now, we're going to be discussing, and I've got to be quiet because the baby's ahead above me. So today we're going to be discussing and showing you, hey kitty, how to create your very own Helix multi-instrument preset. Now, it's probably easy to do this on the regular Helix, but I have an Helix LT. So Helix LT only has one input. But there's a workaround for that, and I will share with you that today. Okay, so how I happened upon this discovery is quite simply my wife wanted to start learning how to play bass, just to have something else, to do, and maybe help her understand piano a little bit better and learning changing chords and things like that. And I said, bass is super easy, no problem. I can teach you how to do that, and we've been working on that. And I had to create a preset that would allow her and I both to play on the Helix LT and use those tones at the same time. So let me show you what I come up with. Okay, so let me just go ahead and get my screen ready here. Is that showing? Okay, it is on. Okay, there we go. Let me go ahead and get my screen here. I guess I'll go with this one, I think. That link there will take you to all of my Helix presets. If you would like to see this one included, leave a comment below. Otherwise, it's pretty easy to create, and there's nothing really special about it. But if you'd like me to include it in my presets, list of presets, then just go ahead and drop a comment below. Let me know if you'll do that. If I get enough comments, then yeah. If I see people are interested, then yeah, I'll do it. If not, I won't worry about it, and I'll focus on bigger presets, okay? And maybe down the line, I'll add it anyway. But anyway, it'd be nice to know if you'd like to see that. So what you're looking at here is a preset that I created called Mel's Bass. Okay, so I tried to look at this as how would I set this up. Now you probably notice one simple thing here, and I'll get to that here in a minute, but what I want to show you first is you have a multi-input here. This is usually guitar and vocals, not vocals, but guitar and variacs, and that's your guitar signal. That's where that comes from. And I've just got a line here that's for that. On this other one, there is nothing coming through, but there is, and I'll share that with you here in just a little bit. So I wanted my guitar to sound like a bass, so I can kind of mimic what a bass sounds like and show her how to play a bass. And I kind of use my guitar in the style of a bass and things like that. So I wanted some kind of pitch block. I knew that was happening, so I just chose simple pitch, and I ran it down an octave here. And I added the mix. Probably actually need to make the mix higher to get down on the guitar tone, but I'm not sure if this is standard or not, if this is stock settings or not. But this is what I ended up with. Actually, what this is if I go to Factory 1 presets, and I'm using Helix 3.6, HX Edit 3.6 firmware. I ended up going to these bass settings down here, right here. You can see there's like 10 of them. Okay, and I just clicked through all of them and seen which one sounded better with my guitar, not worrying about the bass or anything like that. And I ended up picking the very first one. To me, that sounded smooth. It sounded nice. There were one or two others that sounded good, but I thought, well, let's make it simple. I clicked on this one, and it turned out that it was really easy to see. Matter of fact, everything's saved here, so if I go to this, you'll see what happens. I've got two lines here, and only the top one was populated. Okay, so this is basically what I used. I ended up turning getting rid of the volume, because what I found out was my son was down here and he was playing with the volume pedal, and he was turning it up and down. I was like, well, we don't need that. Click, we're done with that. So that's basically all I did. So if I go back to my presets and go to Mel's Bass, which I have on 9A, it's essentially the same thing. Okay. I just needed a pitch shifter for my guitar. Now, I thought, how am I going to get her bass to run in this? And I'll tell you, another good website or another good channel to check out is Steven Serlacci. He's a really good with live gigs and running Helix Live and things like that. He's done a few videos on running multiple instruments through his Helix. Now he has a Helix 4. He doesn't have a Helix LT. To me, I don't see that a Helix 4 would be that hard because you have, I think, several inputs, maybe 2. I don't know. I could be wrong about that, but it seems like there is multiple inputs on a Helix floor. I have an LT, so I don't have all these inputs and everything. I don't have all these outputs. But what we do have is a send and return. And if you'll notice down here, this second line is usually, you know, nothing happens if there's nothing on that line. Usually you can take this multi out and tell it to go to path 2, and it goes down here to path 2, and you have this huge long chain. Okay, but I went with a multi output, which basically takes it to the main. It's your main output. Okay, so to get this in, it says there's none. So what I had to do is create an input. Okay, so if I did guitar, Variax magnetic, there's return 1. Return 1 is here. So I wonder now, if I take that off, if I can make that return 1. Yes, I can make that return 1. And that just saved me a block. See, I didn't even know that. So I made this input return 1. Okay. Return, there's return 1, return 2, and return, both of them, I guess, could be an input. So now, instead of this input block being the return, I have this set to return. And I'm going to go ahead and save that. Okay. All right. So now we have a return. And so what you do is you plug in your other instrument into the return, either 1 or 2, depending on what you set here. And apparently this has its own input gate as well. Isn't that cool? So we have a return there. We have the other instrument going through this. Okay, and what I did basically was copy everything down and moved it down so that she would have an amp, she would have a cab, she would have some compression. She don't care about distortion. I don't care about distortion. I just left it there, and there's some modulation if I want it later. No big deal. So basically, if you want this preset, it is the Factory 1 preset Bass SVT 4 Pro. Okay, it's the first bass setting for the 3.6 factory presets on Helix. And then you just add a little simple pitch block at the beginning, and that's for your guitar. And then this, you just make it a return, and then you've got your bass. Okay, so that's pretty cool. So now let's see how this works. All right, I'm going to grab my guitar. That should be fairly in tune. Yeah, I'm not going to worry about tuning. It's fairly in tune. So basically here we have this pitch block. And if I turn it off, we get this. Make sure I'm getting some level here. Yes. Okay, I've got the compressor running, I've got the amp, I've got all these. If I turn this on, here's what we'll get. And now I can still hear the guitar in there, so now I'm wondering if the mix should be all the way up. That sounds better. Okay, I don't know what the shift level is. Sounds good to me. Let's go ahead and save that again. Okay, so that is the guitar. That's the main output, right? So I'm teaching her how to play bass. Here's your, let's just go back and forth on these. That kind of stuff. And then I say, okay, let's plug in the other guitar. Okay, so let's go in and plug in I was trying to see something real quick. Okay, there's the return. Let's plug in the bass and see what we're getting. Okay, and what I'm going to do is, it's what I was looking for, is to see if I can mute this input. I don't think I can. What I can do though is go ahead and add a volume just for that purpose. So let's go ahead and put a volume, and we will make that active and assign that to the expression pedal. Volume, expression pedal 1. Okay, now Let's see what we're getting here with that. Okay, and I also need that to be logarithmic. Snapshot, I don't need it assigned to a slapshot. Okay, let's see what I get. Weird. Not sure why that's not working. Position. It's very weird. Let's just make it for expression riddle too. I'm not looking for the bypass. I'm looking for the position. There we go. No wonder. Expression pedal 1. That's what we needed. Okay, now let's try it. Bingo. Let's see if it does anything if I move that back over here. Okay, so here's what I was trying to do. Let's go ahead and mute this signal chain here. You will see it muted right here. Not getting anything, so that we will definitely hear that what is coming through is not this chain, but this one with the bass. And I've just simply got her plugged in to the return 1. Okay, so let's see what we're getting here. Return 1. Okay, now let's put this volume here. So isn't that cool? I can mute either one of these paths. And the cool thing is, I can now have an input that's a return. Just like that, you've got a multi-instrument output. I could use this for a different electric guitar. We could do 2 different chains here. And just to show you too, let's just put some distortion on this channel. Screamer. Let's make that something else. So I could also take and change this amp to something else. I could make it SV10, I could make it a Cali bass. Okay. And then completely mute this track. Come back over to my guitar, and we still have a regular bass channel. Except now, I'm only hearing it out of one channel. This may be something to do with this too. Oh, I know what it is. Plugged the wrong thing in. Sorry for this delay, folks. Yeah, I've got a cord here that's defective a lot of the times. So, if you don't have it just right, it'll play through one channel in your earphones, and we don't want that. So, I usually try to plug it into the actual audio interface so it can stay in one spot. Check 1, 2. Check 1, 2. Okay, there we go. And the point is, this is a completely different sound now. So my guitar is one sound, and then my bass is a different sound, okay? So I'm going to go back over here, come back to where this was. It is saved as I had it. Okay, and if I want a volume pedal, I can add that later. But as it is, I don't. So, in a nutshell, it's as easy as that. All you have to do is just choose any preset. You can actually make it in any preset that has one line. And by one line, I mean this right here, this one channel, because you want the other channel freed up. So if I was to go to, for example, my inner dawn, this would not work because I've got all these effects and everything. All right, I've got all these different effects, and I need one whole line freed up for a different instrument. So that's what you got to keep in mind. It's got to be something with just one line dedicated to it, so that you could have your guitar, and let's say you got a buddy who wants to come over and jam. You switch that out to your return as the input, and he can plug in the return, and you can create a whole new chain for him. You can have two different sounds completely, and it'd be awesome, you know. Obviously, it'll be, you can get more elaborate with this. For example, if I go back to that preset that I just had, I can assign some of the control things, like for example, to just I can assign a foot switch to control the distortion here, and when I hit the distortion, it only comes on my side of the channel. I can put this modulation over here, and then that way I can assign her a modulation effect. If she wants the modulation, she comes over and stomps on it, you know, things like that. So it's pretty cool. You can both tap dance on all these different effects that you want on and off. It would be kind of hard to do that with an expression pedal unless you both had an expression pedal. So expression pedal 2 could be a separate one for them to have their own channel, so they could have a wah here or some kind of effect, a delay or whatever. And there's still quite a bit you can get accomplished on one line. I mean, a lot of the presets in Factory 1 are just one line. If I just start going down, there's one line, one chain, I guess is what you might call it. There's another one chain. There's a Cali rectifier, one chain, Grammatico, one chain, Ingrid, one chain. It's when you get into factory. Well, actually, it's when you get into like these artist presets, like the Rabia. He has multiple chains. Devin Townsend, multiple chains. You know, it's when you get to those that you start getting into multiple chains. A lot of them, anyway. Like here's a Rhett Shull. Rhett's all around. Look at this. It's huge. And also Factory 2. I'm guessing there's a lot of those that are probably more than one chain. Seems like the more complicated ones go towards the bottom. Yeah, if you go the further down you get, the more complicated they get. Okay, so and here's a bass parallel fuzz and all these other ones that you can get just for the bass. I didn't even think to look at these bass channels, but they wouldn't work anyway because there's too many. They're using both chains here. So now this one you can do that because the first line isn't taking up but just one thing, because you can bring things down to this second path. Okay, the first path and the second path is completely its own thing, and I could actually use this one and make it more complex and complicated as well by moving those down to a different path. So there's a lot of flexibility with this, a lot of customization, but it gets me excuse me, it gets me pretty excited, because if people come over to jam with me, I can plug them into my Helix and we've got a jam going. And you don't need a Helix native for this. You can go directly into your Helix LT unit and do this. Now you may be able to do this as well. You can do this with the floor, the rack, Helix LT, and probably Helix native, because you can put up to 2 lines on there. I'm not sure that you could do this with HX Stomp or even Stomp XL, because they only have one line. However, you might be able to do it if you did it on 2 paths, like we just showed you a while ago. If you put some of this stuff on one path and somehow directed the other instrument to go through on a certain path. So I don't know how that would happen. I don't know exactly how you would do that. You might have to like put the return on the path or something like that. That way the return is only feeding that path. I don't know. By the return, I mean the return block. So if I go to send return, I can put a return 1 here. I can't do it now because this is being used, but I can put a return 2 here or whatever. Let's just experiment. Let's just say this was none, and we put a return 1 on this path here. And so this isn't going to the return because the return is its own thing. So you can put maybe all this stuff on the next line, and that could be 2 instruments. Follow me here, and then you could have another 2 instruments. That's very inquisitive. I'm wondering if this will work. And I can't put that there because now everything is taken up. So if I remove that, still too much. Still too much. So what I could do is just sum all this into one cab. We're using the same cab. Okay. Both these amps. This is going through. Okay. So we have, let's just go back here and get my modulation and all that back. And then we can take this. And now this one cab is running through the, this one amp is running through this cab. And we have modulation, and this we wouldn't need anything because there's nothing else on there for now. If this works, then you can do the same thing with these other paths, and that will give you 4 total instruments. So let me check this out. Let's see if this will work real quick, and then I'll probably have to call it quits. So let's test it. Just to be on the safe side, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to run the distortion here, turn it on, okay? And if I hear distortion, then I know this is not going to work. Okay, so far so good. Let's change the amp to something else. Let's make it a Cali bass. That was a little bit more bright. Now, actually, let's go to something else. What about this? Okay, let's go to the other bass and see if that works. Now mind you, once again, I have one guitar input. That's it. So let's turn this bass up and see if we get distorted. This needs to be here, actually. And that scrambler I did not want. I think I had it on Vermin earlier. Just out of curiosity. Okay, so that is in fact running. This is running out to this signal, even though there's a return here. I would think that the return would cut that off. Maybe I could do a split AB or split Y. If I put the balance A, that's still left and one is right. Oh, it's not doing what I want it to. It's still coming through here. Split AB. Still getting a signal on both of these. And that's maybe because it's a multi-out, I'm not sure. So the return here is having no effect on the signal. If I put the return on 100%, it's doing something different. Let's go back to the split. Make it even. That's interesting. That worked. Make the return 100%, and it will pull in 100% of the sound. So this will not get heard through this. It's going to block it off, to the best of my knowledge. If I put this on a Cali bass, you know what? Let's just, in case, let's take that off the bass. Take this off. Make this amp guitar amp. Let's make it like a angle meteor. All right, now. It seems to me that's working. I've got two separate signals here. I made this a split Y. Now to me, that sounds like it's not left and right to me. I can still hear mono. But this is, maybe it's they're not stacking and falling on top of each other. Maybe you might not even need that. You might just leave this to the center. Don't even need this split Y. It was on split Y, I think. And then just make this mix 100%. If it's not 100%, that goes through the other line. So we're going to call this a success. It looks like to me you can run a single line. It looks like to me you can run a single line through you can run, that's what I'm trying to say, it's late folks, sorry. You can run this chain here to a return, still plug in your return, and put the mix at 100%. And what that will do is it will block the signal coming from here. So you won't even hear this low thing coming through here at all. It won't be like a mix of frequencies. And then pull that back out, coming both of these back out at the same cab. They can have different amps, okay? And you might want to make it a cab that sounds good with both. This is a bass cab. I don't know if that would work very good. I mean, didn't sound too bad, I guess, with me. For me, anyway. You could also make this a dual cab. It is a dual cab, okay. Maybe you could make one cab for a bass and one cab for a guitar. That way both of them equally sound okay. Because as it is, there's not enough room for both cabs on here to work right now. Alright, so that's my take on that. That's my spiel. You could have up to 3 instruments on here. Now, one of those could be a mic if you had a XLR to 1/4 inch adapter, or if your mic actually came out into a 1/4 inch like the old style ones. You could probably still order those today, and you could process your voice through the return. Okay, you could do, let's just say you wanted to do guitar on one line, bass on another path of that line. Then you could do vocals and then, I don't know, keys or something like that. As long as it's plugged into the return. See, if you did it here, then what you would do then is you could plug in another instrument to return 2. And we could make this return 2 full mix. And now return 1 is playing bass. And then when you pull return 2 down here, it's not hearing any of the bass. It is going to be hearing, like if this was vocals, return 1 is plugged into vocals. But then again, if you did that, you wouldn't be able to use return 1 up here. So my guess is you would just need, you'd have return, you'd have your multi-input for your guitar. Then you'd have a second line for your return. Okay, right? Let's just, yeah, we will make that return 2 here. This will be return 1. That's guitar and bass. Bass will be plugged into return 1. Return 1 is in full. This is return 2. Return 2 is now going to be used for, let's say, vocal. Okay, so we've got that here, and if we split this, see, it's funny, you can use the send, or no, it has to be the return. You can't use a send for a input. It's going to be sending signal out. So it looks like maybe 3 is the max you can get. I'm not sure. Well, yeah. I could make this another multi-guitar here, then put this as return 2. This is return 1, this is return 2. But the guitar is still going to be playing from the guitar input, so that wouldn't work. So this may be as much as just 3 paths. You got 1, 2, and then 3, because you can't really send another path to something else. I know that's a lot of explaining, but it's something to work with. So hopefully this has been helpful. I'm going to put this bass up right quick. Basically, if you want a basic, easy, quick setup, which I did, I didn't want to do a lot of fooling around because my wife does not have the patience for that. What you have to do, the best thing to do is just choose a bass preset that's already working with one path. Make that your guitar. Put a little simple pitch on here. Make the mix 100% if you want to. If you don't want any guitar tones coming out, it might even be better to put this down about 80 so you can actually hear a difference between your guitar and somebody's bass. And then make the second channel a return channel. And this whole line now is dedicated to whatever that is. And you can actually, if you wanted more effects on that, you can drag those down if you needed to. and it will still be just dedicated to the base. Okay, that's probably the simplest way to do it. All right, so I hope this has been helpful to you guys, and it's been a little over 30 minutes, so hopefully it's been helpful. Hopefully it's caused you to go to your Helix and see about experimenting with that. For now, I'm going to go ahead and get off here, jump off here, head to the bed, and because I'm heard the baby up there cry just a little bit. He may be having a nightmare. He may be hearing me. I don't know. But thank you so much for watching. I do have some more videos coming up. I have some more videos of me and the Heavenly Travelers, my family singing together. I have another video of that that I've got to edit. I've got some more string reviews. I've got my Steve Vai vlog. I finally finished edits on that last night. I've got to watch it to make sure everything looks okay. And then I'll be posting that pretty soon, so watch out for that. A lot of good things happening here. And so, yeah, working hard on all of it. So thanks so much for watching, guys, and we will see you next time. Remember, check out my other channels, Gleaning Words and Stewards of the Word. That's the Bible-based channel. Gleaning Words is the writing channel, and you can find me at Substack at gleaningwords.substack.com, where I'm doing most of my writing now for content and all that. So a lot of stuff going on. You can check all that stuff in the description below, and I'll see you next time, guys. Thanks so much for watching. God bless, and as always, keep creating.